What's going on, YouTube? I decided to show you my Pokemon deck. I feel really isn't a whole lot of deck lists out there. At least for the real TCG card game, there's a lot out there for the Pokemon Online, so I wanted to do my real deck list that I use in my Pokemon League and my competitive tournaments, and I feel does very well. If anyone out there was wanting to make a fairy deck, you could check mine out and see if you like it. But this is what I use Pokemon wise. I use 4 Xerneas. Some people may say that's too many. Maybe to take one out for another card. If you want to, you can. The reason why I use 4 is because it's my main attacker, and it's really the only attacker I have. So I use 4. And then I use this Xerneas. It's actually really easy to get. They have starter decks that come with these. So if you're wanting to make a fairy deck, this card is very easily gotten. And I run 3 of those. This card is very useful in this deck because of its first attack, the Geometry attack, or Geomancy, I'm sorry. It allows you to get energies from your deck and put them onto bench Pokemon. So if you can get him out first turn and have him on your bench, you can easily power him up to get him out on second turn, which I will tell you how to very easily here in a second once you see the rest of my Pokemon. Here is the Pokemon that I use strictly for their abilities. The Aromatisse. I use 2. You may want to use more than 2. The reason why I use 2 because I also use Slurpluff, but he is not as necessary as Aromatisse. He is going to be someone who will save your life in this deck, for the simple fact that he allows you to move your energies around. If you know your Pokemon's going to die or be beaten, then the turn before you can move a couple energies around to a Pokemon on your bench to bring out next turn. Or when you use his attack, you can only put 1 energy on a Pokemon, but you're allowed to do that to 2 different Pokemon. So using him will allow you to move the energies that you had to place to the Pokemon you wanted them to be on. So this card is very necessary to use in this deck. Now the reason why I use Slurpuff is because I do face a lot of teams that use, poisoning cards, confusion, whatever, any kind of thing like that, and he not only makes it to where you cannot get affected by those special conditions. If you had that special condition, it removes it. So I only run 1. I don't think it's necessary to run more than that because he is more important to me than he is. But I do run him, so if I ever get to that situation where I need to remove its conditions, I have him to do that. And then I run a Mr. Mime. And the reason why I run the Mr. Mime is because of all the cards out there that do damage to your bench, and Xerneas is one of them. You also have Darkrai that does damage to your bench, and as a lot of other cards do with them as well. So he helps with that. And that's all the Pokemon I have in this deck. I believe it's, let's see, 15 Pokemon altogether, which is very high for most competitive decks. But like I said, I am pretty successful with it. And you know, if you want to run this type of deck and feel that's too many, you can take an Xerneas out, and you can take the Surplus out if you don't feel they're necessary. But like I said, I'm successful with this. Now, item cards. I use the Dowsing Machine. And the main reason why I use it, because I do find myself in situations where I will need this card right here. And that is the Max Potion. The Max Potion, you have to discard all of your energies to heal all the damage. Now you're thinking, why would you want to do that? Why would you want to sacrifice all your energies to heal damage? And that's when Aromatisse comes into play. This is going to be the most important thing that he's going to do. You can actually move those energies around to where whatever Pokemon you're wanting to heal has no energies. Then run Max Potion, healing all the damage. And then put those energies back with Aromatisse. And now you have a fully healed Pokemon that can attack and can last a whole another turn or so. I also run level balls. The reason why I run 4 is because I have so many Pokemon that are 90 HP or lower, and running 4 will help me get these guys out as fast as possible, especially with Aromatisse being so important. You need him out very quickly. And also the Mr. Mime, just in case you run into a deck that does the benched damage. So that's why I run the 4. I run Escape Rope. I do not run the Pokemon Catcher. I believe with the new coin flip rule, it's still good, but I would rather run the Escape Rope because of this card right here, Fairy Garden. I run 3 Fairy Garden just in case, you know, somebody else uses a deck that does stadiums, and you always want this card out. This gives you a free retreat cost as long as any of your Pokemon have the fairy type energy. So you can use the Escape Rope, switch your Pokemon, then your opponent has to switch theirs. Then you can just free retreat and get the Pokemon that you had in the first place back out. Very useful, a lot better than Pokemon Catcher that you may not be able to use because the coin flip says you can't because you got the tails instead of heads. Then I run 2 Ultra Balls. I don't feel it's necessary to run more. For a simple fact, that's why I run 4 of these cards. Instead of 2 or 3, I run 4, which makes it not necessary to have more than 2 Ultra Balls. My deck needs all the cards, and it does put me in a tight situation when I have to discard cards that I may need. But if I have to, that's why I have the Dowsing Machine. Then I run the Professor's Letter. I believe it's better than the Energy Search in some cases. Let's say if you run a Professor's Letter just to get 1 energy out, and then let's say you have a Professor Sycamore that you want to play, then it kind of screws you over because you have to discard one of the energies that you just drew. But that's only why I run 2. You can switch these out for energy searches, but like I said, seem to be pretty successful with the letters rather than the searches. And so far I have never been in a situation where I need energy, because the matches usually don't last long enough to where I run out. Either I win or I lose quick enough to where I'll never have to worry about energy. Plus I run 11 energies, which is relatively high, but I think it's enough, especially when Xerneas needs 4 energies to even run his second attack, 3 to do his first. So I think energies are very necessary. Let's see. I run 2 hard charms. Now I don't run the other tool card that allows you to have a 20% or 20 HP increase in your attack, because I don't think I need it, especially when Xerneas can do 200 damage within 2 turns. I don't think it's necessary. But I do run this one, so I do find myself fighting decks with the Mega Evolutions, which do a lot of damage, or decks that run the Yveltal, which I have found myself better off with this card, even though he does have a resistance to dark with his Yveltal's first attack. With him using 4 energies to attack, he can end up being dealt a lot of damage with Yveltal. So having the negative 20 for dark and then having this means that you're taking 40 less damage when fighting the Yveltal deck, which helps, because it could possibly mean that you have one more turn with the Xerneas on your field than you would have if you didn't have the hard charms. That's why I play the hard charm. Then of course the supporters are pretty standard. For Professor Sycamores or Professor, actually, I'll show you that I actually have a Juniper in there. I don't know if most tournaments will allow you to have the Juniper in there. I think the rule is that you can only have 4 of either or of the 2 cards. You cannot have 4 of each, only 4 altogether. But I do run 1 Juniper because I don't have a 3rd Sycamore, but when I do get a 4th Sycamore, I will replace the Juniper. Then I run 4 Shauna. I replaced the Shauna with the N, because I just don't like N. I think N sucks. I think it's always been a horrible card. It has helped me in other situations, but I think Shauna is better, because at least you know you're guaranteed 5 cards. With N, you know, you could be in game and you might only have 1 prize card left, and you might have 2 or 3 that you haven't used yet, and it's not going to do you any good. So I run the Shaunas, and then I run 3 of the Querulus. I only run 3 because don't think it's as good as the other ones, but when you're playing decks like mine, you will find yourself with a lot of Pokemon on your bench that will never go to the field. So it can be helpful in my situations. That's why I use them. And then of course 3 Skyla to get out the max potions and Dowsing Machine if I need it, the Love Balls if I need it, whatever you need it for. And I think I already showed you the Fairy Gardens. But yeah, that is my deck. If you like this deck, comment if you think that there's any improvements or changes I need to make. And thank you for watching.